Hello, good afternoon everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's session, Money, Apprenticeships and You. So this is the fourth event from our virtual apprenticeship week that we're hosting, which finishes next Friday. So first of all, congratulations to anybody who got their A-level results yesterday. Good luck to those that are waiting for the GCSE results next week. But hopefully we've got a series of events. I think we've got 13 in total, which can start talking about some of the fantastic apprenticeship opportunities which are going on in Greater Manchester. So this afternoon session, we're going to be talking a little bit about money, apprenticeships and how to best manage your lifestyle as an apprentice. I'm lucky that we're joined by some experts that can assist me today. So we've got Paula from Transport for Greater Manchester, who'll be talking a little bit about our pass and the travel offer, which is available for apprentices in Greater Manchester. Then we've also got Tom and Charlotte, two of our apprentices, who are also going to share their experiences and talk a little bit about their apprenticeship journey. So hopefully you all get something out of the session and be able to go away and take something to certainly to think about. First up, we're going to have Paula for Transport for Greater Manchester, who's going to speak to you a little bit about our pass and also about the travel offer. So welcome to Paula.
Great, thank you. Thanks very much for that. As has just been said, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what our pass is. So I'm Paula Titterington. I'm a delivery manager within the ticketing team at Transport for Greater Manchester. One of the projects that we delivered last year was a pilot for a scheme called Our Pass. And this year we've extended that to a new cohort of customers as well. So I want to sort of take this opportunity to talk you through what actually is Our Pass. And also for the purpose of reaching everybody, I'll give you an overview as if you don't know anything about it. I think that would probably be the best, so that I don't go into what I understand about it. So what is Our Pass? So Our Pass, it's a membership scheme and it's for young people who live in Greater Manchester. It supports both school leavers and care leavers. So those eligible have the chance to become a member and potentially to enjoy two things from being a member of Our Pass. The first thing is free bus travel across Greater Manchester, and you get that for a one-off £10 fee. So that's an administration fee of £10. Once you've got that, members can travel on most local buses any day of the week for free. So there's no hassle, no fuss, no tickets, just a card that will get you there and get you where you want to go. So members can also get half price off-peak, one-day and weekend travel cards on Metrolink as well. So it's a really, really good offer. So secondly to that is the membership also unlocks some exclusive offers and experiences. So this is made up of discounts, special offers, free tickets, swimming, leisure passes, merchandise. There might be career taster days and much, much more. So there's lots that it opens up for you. So it all depends on age and eligibility, and members are able to, if they meet the age and the eligibility, they're able to enjoy free bus travel, as I've said, or exclusive offers, or both. So, and this is all until the end of a pilot project on the 31st of August 2021, and then we'll know what we're doing further on once we've analysed all the data. So who is it for? So it's for eligible young people who live in Greater Manchester. It can be used for up to 2 years, at the moment up until the 31st of August 2021, but if we extend it, you can use it for up to 2 years. It starts from the 1st of September after your 16th birthday until the 31st of August after your 18th birthday. So you can continue to use your iGo card now if you've got an iGo card until you become eligible for Our Pass. But your iGo card will expire, as it would have done anyway, on the 31st of August after your 16th birthday. So if you apply for an Our Pass, this will kick in on the 1st of September. If you're not sure if you're living in Greater Manchester, there is a tool on, if you go on the internet, which is a government tool called Find Your Local Council. If you put your postcode in there, as long as you live within one of the 10 local council areas, then you'll be eligible to apply for it. Just a couple of things just to make you aware, which is quite handy before you apply. What the things that you'll need, there's just 5 things you'll need. You'll need an email address because we'll need to set you an account up so that we can correspond with you. You'll need a passport style photo to upload, so you can do that with a camera phone or digital camera. You don't really have to go to an old-fashioned photo booth anymore. Photos we are quite strict on because we need to be able to recognise you, so you can't send blurred photos or photos on your holidays or something like that. But if you go to the website, which is very simple, ourpass.co.uk, you can get some hints and tips on what would be acceptable and what isn't. We'd also need proof of your date of birth. So if to be eligible, you've got to have been born between the 1st of September 2001 and the 31st of August 2004. So as I've said, you'll need the photograph. You'll also need proof of your date of birth. So that can be a birth or adoption certificate, passport, driving licence, medical card. There's a big list on there that you can use as your proof, and we also need a proof that you actually do live in Greater Manchester, and you can use choose from a number of proofs for that as well. As I mentioned at the beginning, there is a £10 administration card, so what you'll need is a valid payment card. Have that with you so you can see both the front and back of the card, because you will need the 3-digit number on the back as well. So when will you get it? So if you apply for it now, you'll get it by the 1st of September. If you apply for it after the 1st of September, it's normally between 7 and 10 working days before you get it. So as soon as you get your membership card, you go straight back to our site that we give you instructions for, activate your account, and then you can use it immediately on buses. If you lose or you have your card stolen, you need to contact us straight away and we can block that card. There is another £10 replacement fee for that, and again it'll take 7 to 10 days, but that fee is in line with all our other cards and it is an administration fee. So there's a lot. If you, my advice really would be, if you're interested in looking into Our Pass, is to go to ourpass.co.uk, have a look at how you can apply. If you are eligible, I would recommend that you do apply. It's a really, really good offer. And then start to have a look at what they used to be called opportunities, what exclusives are available to you, and you get the opportunity to sign up to lots of different exciting things and get discounts, etc. So it's well worth having a look into it. And that's it from me, unless anyone's got any questions they'd like to ask.
Okay, thank you, Paula. I probably should have mentioned at the start that Paula and the apprentices are going to stay with us for the rest of the afternoon. So if you do have any questions while you're watching, feel free to use the chat function, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of time at the end to go through them. I think the only other thing it's worth pointing out at this stage regarding Transport for Greater Manchester is that there's also a fantastic bike offer, which I know I personally benefited from, where any apprentice within Greater Manchester is entitled to a free refurbished bike. So I received that. I'm doing my own apprentice and I got a bike, the helmet and the safety gear as well, which was fantastic, and I've enjoyed using the last few days in the sun, which has been really good. Next up, we was due to have Sarah from the Department of Work and Pensions, who's going to give us a little bit of talk around what benefits you're entitled to as an apprentice. Unfortunately, I've just heard that she's having some technological difficulties, which is always the way. So she won't be able to join us, but she has sent through a few answers to some of the common queries regarding apprenticeships and benefits. So first of all, she said, can apprentices claim benefits? And it says, yes, apprentices are eligible to claim benefits. Which benefits you might be entitled to are dependent on your circumstances. So if you're over 18, you can use the benefits calculator to see what help you might get. And if you're under 18, there's a guide on young people and benefits. There's also some different entitlements if you're a care leaver, or you're involved in kind of the care leaver system. Apprentice benefits, it says that anyone working more than 33 hours a week are entitled to the same benefits as other people in the workplace. And these may include tax credits, your paid holidays each year, statutory, maternity, paternity pay and maternity paternity leave, and certainly sick pay entitlement. One maybe for the parents and carers amongst you. How will it affect my child benefit? Well, your child benefit stops on the 31st of August on or after your child's 16th birthday if they leave education or training. At the moment, families of apprentices are currently not entitled to this financial support, but I know that there are ongoing discussions and debates about whether they should be. So that's definitely something worth keeping your eye on. I think it's been debated in Parliament a few times. So it says to make sure you stay in the loop by checking the government.uk's website for further updates. And then on council tax, It said people are not counted as adults for council tax if they're on apprentice schemes where they're not paid more than £195 a week. So if they're earning less than that, you'll be able to get some exemption from the council tax payments. But in summary, regarding anything connected with benefits, it's very much dependent on your personal and individual circumstances. So one thing which Sarah did say was that if anybody has any questions or they're unsure about anything, again, if you'd like to leave us a message either in the chat or email us after this session, then she's agreed that she's more than happy to speak with people, whether it's over the phone or via email, and try and best advise them the best she can. So that's for anything, any queries that are involving benefits or anything where the Department of Work and Pensions might be able to help. We've now got, I'm going to hear from a couple of our apprentices. So first up, we've got Charlotte Stoddard, who's an apprentice at Trafford Council, who's going to share with us her apprenticeship journey. So welcome, Charlotte.
Hi everyone, so yes, I'm Charlotte Stoddard and I work for Trafford Council at the moment and I'm a HR officer. So I'll just give you a bit of a background on my apprenticeship story really. So I was quite a high achiever in school. I got kind of pushed to go to college because that was the right thing to do. And then I went to college. I did 3 A-levels in history, psychology and photography. And I was excelling in my practical subject, which was my photography. So it kind of just made me look at apprenticeships and see what apprenticeships were about a bit more than the traditional uni route. And my exam results weren't the best at the time. They were slipping because I didn't enjoy exams. I felt under pressure. I didn't like being in them. So I wanted to learn some new skills and obviously earn while you learn. The old catchphrase for apprenticeships. So I went to and applied for Trafford Council. I'm now on my 3rd apprenticeship there. So I did my first one in business administration level 3. I did my second in level 3 CIPD with HR support, and I'm currently just on my 3rd one, level 5 CIPD with HR consultancy. So I am quite a lover of apprenticeships, and I do really think that they're a great start or just starting your career or to upskill or change your career as well. So it was my first apprenticeship that I was receiving national minimum wage. I am like a full member of staff now on a permanent contract with a banding attached to my role. So it was my first apprenticeship and I was receiving national minimum wage at the time. So this was in 2016. So it was obviously quite a lot lower than it is now. I was 18, so I was still living at home with my mum and dad. So it was probably a bit easier because they were doing my shopping for me and I didn't have to pay bills. I paid them rent because that's always what we've kind of done ever since I started working. I've paid my mum and dad money to get me understanding the value of money as well. So I still lived at home and I still do live at home now. On my national minimum wage money, I bought myself my second car. My mum and dad got me my first car. I was really lucky that they could do that for me, and I bought myself my second car on that wage. I got a Ford Fiesta ST line with a new reg plate on it, and it was the most exciting day of my life going to pick up a car that I was paying for myself. I felt so grown up, and it had proved that I was working for something. My mum and dad always say to me, "You don't live to work, you work to live." Yeah, that's the right way around. So you work to be able to do stuff that you enjoy to do. So me being able to go and buy a car was something that I enjoyed doing. I paid for my car insurance that year. I paid for my holiday insurance. I went on loads of holidays to the Canary Islands, to Magaluf with the girls. It was just I did things that I enjoyed to do still, just because I was on less money. I did take a pay cut to start my apprenticeship. I was working at Monsoon Accessorise in the Trafford Centre at the time before my apprenticeship, and everybody was on the same wage there. So I was on about, I want to say about £8 an hour then, and I took about a £3 an hour pay cut to do my apprenticeship. But in my head, in the long run, I was going to progress even more and be able to make more money. So the money wasn't really an important aspect to me at that time. It was more the qualification and the experience I was going to gain, ready to set myself up for my future career, rather than the initial pay cut that I was going to have. I still went out every weekend. I was 18. I loved going out. It was new and exciting, so I still did that. And we went on weekends away with my friends. And I was still saving to buy a house. I'm still saving to buy a house. And it was just so beneficial to see like my money increasing as I was working. It was just so nice to see that was happening. And just because I was an apprentice and on less money than the rest of the workforce, it didn't mean that I didn't get their benefits as well. So working for a council, we actually work on a flexible working. It's called flexi time. Basically, you can gain flexi hours, so our core hours are like 8 till 4 really, but we can start any time up until 10 and finish any time from 3 if we build up enough hours to be able to do that. And that was one of the biggest benefits, and still is one of the biggest benefits to me for working for the council. It really just gives you that work-life balance that you need, especially when you're doing a qualification, that you can finish at 3 and go home and do some of your college work, or just go home and enjoy the sun or whatever's going on. We also get discounted car parking. So obviously it can be quite expensive to park depending on where you work, and some places don't offer free car parking. So we have, I think it's 3 sites where we park: Manchester United, Tesco, the Town Hall, and then the cricket club. So there's 4. And I got a place at Lancashire County Cricket Club, and it was about £13 a month to park at the time. So it was really cheap to be able to drive my car there and park there and not have to worry about that extra additional payment every day of parking my car. We also have something called Trafford Rewards that's now called Perks at Work. So you sign up to that, and it's kind of like a Boots Advantage card. You get points when you buy things. So we get discounted cinema tickets, discount for like electrical items on holidays and things like that. So it is something that you can look into when you're within an organisation. And obviously, being on an apprenticeship, you get student discount. So I've been getting student discount for quite a few years now with me going to college, doing 3 apprenticeships. So I've been getting student discount for about 6 years now, and I don't think I could live without it now I've had it for so long. But then these little things that you don't even really think about, like the development opportunities. When I first started my apprenticeship, it was, I've got a job, I can go out, I can spend my money on things I want to spend money on. But it's actually like the non-monetary things that you realise are so important when you've got a job. So me doing my 3 apprenticeships, that means so much more than the monetary value that I receive, because them qualifications don't have an amount on them. They're invaluable, is that the right word? They're invaluable really. They're so important for me to progress in my career that they are my priority at the moment, and getting those qualifications is what I need to do. So when you are looking at apprenticeships, I'd say don't really look at the wage. Obviously they'll all be above the apprenticeship wage or national minimum wage, but you need to think about the benefits that them organisations offer as well, because sometimes the benefits of the organisation actually outweigh the monetary value. So getting your holidays, your sick pay, your flexible working benefits, just little things like that that you probably wouldn't think about when you're first looking at an apprenticeship, because I didn't even know that places offered benefits like that. I always just thought, oh yeah, you go to work and you get paid and you leave and that's it. But you don't. There's so many extra benefits there that you can tap into. So it doesn't really, the monetary value of it just kind of the benefits outweigh the monetary value really. So yeah, so that's my little story on money and being an apprentice at the time.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. It's really interesting. I know Charlotte's a big advocate of apprenticeships. As she mentioned, she's done, I think, on a 3rd one now, which is really great and a really fantastic journey, and show how apprenticeships can work and form part of your kind of career pathway. Next up, we've got Tom, who's from ACOM, who's also an apprentice, and he's going to tell us a few words about his own apprenticeship journey. So welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm an apprentice. However, I work for ACOM, which is a private company. I am a highways and traffic engineer, and effectively, I've always really enjoyed maths and science in school. I was good at them, so I think that's why I enjoyed them. I then followed a very traditional projection up onto college. So I went to the 6th form college near mine, and I studied maths, physics and geography. And I always ployed with the idea of an apprenticeship. However, that got cemented in my mind when I applied for a degree apprenticeship at ACOM when I was in year 12. Got an interview, did the interview, it went really well. However, the last question they asked was, why have you actually applied? Because you're only 16 or 17, so we can't give you one at the moment. So I basically just posed the question of, well, can I have a summer internship? And they said, well, we can do one better than that and you can get paid for it as well. So for my year 12 to year 13 summer, I worked for ACOM for 8 weeks and got paid as well. And at the end of that, they offered me a degree apprenticeship, depending on basically if I got the grades to get into Bolton University. So I effectively at the moment do 4 days of work and 1 day at university when we're in term time. And it's the best decision I've ever made. I have friends who go to university, I have friends who do trade work, I have friends in this sector as well. And although they all really enjoy it, I do seem to have given myself the best opportunities. So at the moment, I still live at home. I've just turned 19, so I have bought my first car, which, like Charlotte said, it is one of the major benefits of earning. I also have no uni debts at the end of it, so I will come out with a degree and no uni debts, which is just, this the dream really. My mum and dad have always supported me. However, like, I've got to become financially independent, so I do pay a small amount of rent just to get me into the routine of paying for this and paying for that and not just spending all my money. But I have made some extravagant purchases, so like my car, my insurance and everything like that. I am on slightly more than the minimum wage due to working for a private company, and them having that access, which is always nice. And this was, I mean, I worked in like a pub when I was like 16 to 18, but I had a very large pay increase to where I am now. So that all went really well. And I just really enjoy working for ACOM. I think to anyone who's kind of toying with the idea of an apprenticeship, definitely give it more thought, because I know for myself, especially in like school, this was never really pushed. It was always, let's go to college and then let's go to university, because that's what everyone does. However, apprenticeships are so good, and they're so overlooked at just the sheer knowledge you can get. So I've only been at ACOM a year, and the opportunities and the schemes that I've worked on so far are just unmatched, like more than I can ever think I would be doing. With ACOM, we run a policy called MyFlex, which effectively runs your pension and runs some other benefits. So I'm very into my gym, and you can get discounted gym memberships, you can even get things such as travel insurance, you can get things such as private health insurance, your pension obviously, the gym, the bike to work scheme applies for you still. I mean, you can get a free bike actually if you're an apprentice. And they're among some other things. So there is some really good ones. And then effectively, just to put like a nice end to it, apprenticeships, the main apprenticeship is the main benefit I think with an apprenticeship is the fact that you learn on the job. So you go to university, and I'll go to my university once a week, and I'll be sat there and I'll be thinking, whereas if I was just at university, I'd be thinking, well, how does this actually apply? But seeing how I work and thinking about things, especially designing roads, designing junctions, when you've got to think about all them things, and you can actually apply the stuff you learn in university to your job, and that really gets a good connection between university and your job, and it basically cements the knowledge a lot better. And also you earn money as well. So I've been able to go on all holidays with my friends. I've been to about 6 or 7 festivals last year with all my friends, and just I don't think that would be possible on my student loan. So that's always a big bonus. But yeah, like Phil said, any questions, we'll have a Q&A at the end that we can answer for you. So yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Tom. So that was really interesting as well. And it's great to hear from a private employee's perspective. So obviously we heard from Charlotte, who works for the public sector, and then we've heard from Tom from the private sector, both with different stories, but both very positive about apprenticeships and about the opportunities which they give you as young people. I'm just looking, and we have had a couple of questions in while we've been talking. I know we had one that came online earlier in the week, which was asking about how much do you get paid as an apprentice. So, as always, money is the most important thing, I think, for a lot of people. So the answer to that is, I suppose, it's different for everybody depending on where you work. The current national minimum wage for an apprentice is £4.15 per hour. So you can't get any less than that for your first year. After that, you're entitled to the national minimum wage or the national living wage rate for your age. There are quite a lot of differences and discrepancies in terms of how much you get paid, and often it'll depend on the individual organisation. We've got agreement in Greater Manchester in terms of the public sector that they shouldn't be paying the national minimum wage for apprentices. It should be for your age at least, but obviously every organisation is different. So in response to that question, I suppose it's checking with the organisation, and it certainly shouldn't be any lower than £4.15 an hour. We've had another one come in, which I suppose is one for perhaps Charlotte or Tom, both of them. I'm not sure which one wants to answer. And that was asking about, is it possible? So let's get the question up now. I think it was from, where we go? I was looking who it was who asked the question. So I know they included the name, and it was Katharina from Parswood High School. And she's asked, can you make a stable income from an apprenticeship at 16? So I'm not sure if you can answer that, Charlotte. I suppose it's again, it's depending in what constitutes a stable income and in terms of how much you're getting paid. But what are your thoughts on that question?
Yeah, obviously it depends quite a lot. Number one, on the organisation, so how much they pay. I have a couple of friends that got apprenticeships in private sector, and they were on more money than I was. But that was just the way it was at the time. Yeah, it depends, but I'd say, yeah, you can. Obviously, national minimum wage and the apprenticeship wage gets increased every year in line with the cost of living anyway. So it's not that you're ever really at a financial detriment. Obviously, apprenticeship wage is lower than your normal wage, but that's just kind of the way it's always been, and probably the way it'll be for quite a while. And I think you can make a stable income from it. Like me and Tom have both said, you can still go out and do things. It's not just that you're getting paid pence and you have to sit in on a weekend after you've worked all week. You can still go and do things. You can go on the holidays, you can go to the festivals, you can buy the cars. And if that's not what you want to do and you want to save it, you can save it as well. Or like I've done a bit of both. I've always saved a bit, spent a bit on rent for mum and dad, and then I've spent it on my car, my insurance, petrol. Like, you've got your essentials, and I think it just depends on how much, number one, you earn, and number two, what your essentials are, what do you need to pay for in that month would make the idea on whether you can make a stable income from it. And I think if you, I don't know, if you are living on your own at 16 and you're ready to do your driving lessons and maybe get your own car, then maybe you need to start thinking about how much you would be spending each month and gauging, could you afford to be on an apprenticeship to be able to do what you need to do to be able to get through the month. I think that would be quite a good bit of advice, or see how much disposable income you'd have left at the end of the month as well, just to give you a bit more of an idea on the money side of things.
Okay.
I'll just tune in a bit on that as well. So I would be inclined to say that you could, only because effectively if you are 16 and you follow what many would consider the traditional approach, you would probably go to sixth form or a college of some sorts. And considering there you will earn no money, then any money is better than no money. I mean, myself, I have banking for saving for houses and everything like that, and I think as long as you can balance any bills that you have, I mean, if you do have bills, then you have to always take that into consideration, but also the skills that you'll gain from your apprenticeship from 16 to 18, if you are struggling then, you're planting the seeds that you're going to reap later on. So you could go and work a job that earns slightly more money than you would on an apprenticeship at 16. However, if you can make do through these 2, 3, 4 years and make it out of your apprenticeship and become on a proper wage, especially in our industry, with if you become an engineer, your pay can increase thousands from that jump. So as long as you can stick it out, I'd be inclined to agree.
Thank you. Two really good answers there, and I think that the point that Tom made as well about the fact that you're not having to pay for your training, your education, and you're not running up that big student debt and big student loans. It can only help you becoming financially stable as you get older and older. We had another question in while we were talking, and this is from Shania from Deanery Sixth Form. And she's asked, what opportunities are there for adults to do an apprenticeship and what benefits can be claimed? So suppose I'm, by the looks of it, the oldest apprentice on the call. So I'll probably be best placed to answer this. So I did an apprenticeship and I started at 35. My background was in sports development. Prior to that, I'd wanted to be a professional sportsman, and that didn't work out. So I'd almost drifted into various jobs, working firstly for the NHS and then for the local authority in sports development. And as I was getting older, and I started thinking about where I'd like to be in 10 years and how I'd like to see my career progress, I got a job with the Combined Authority, which is where I work for now. And they offered me the opportunity to do a project manager apprenticeship. And at the time, perhaps like a lot of people, I thought I've already been to university, my studying days are finished, I'm not doing any more learning, I've done enough assignments to last a lifetime. But it was a really, really beneficial course, and for various reasons. One of the big ones was that I think I wouldn't have been in a position to go back to uni or to retrain or to learn a new skill, simply because I'm at a stage in life where I've got 2 kids and a mortgage, and to take that time away from paid employment and to focus on training would have been very difficult. So to have the opportunity to do it in my day job as part of my work, to still get paid, to not have to fork out, I think the £9,000 that the training would have cost, was absolutely fantastic. I did the apprenticeship for 18 months, and again, as I touched on there, that was during work time. So how I did it was pretty much every Friday was a study day. 20% of your time is for off-the-job learning, they say, which is when you do your apprenticeship training. So I didn't have to spend sleepless nights or stay up till 1 in the morning or any of that usual kind of student behaviour, and it gave me a really good platform. So 18 months down the line, I've very nearly finished my project management qualification. I've been able to, as part of the apprenticeship, pick up on various skills and also achieve 1 or 2 external qualifications, which have helped me get a promotion in work. So a bit of progression. And that definitely wouldn't have been possible without doing an apprenticeship. I wouldn't have been financially able. I wouldn't have had the time to go away and start studying again. So that opportunity to learn while I'm earning has been invaluable to me. In terms of the second part of the question, what benefits can be claimed? I know we touched on that briefly before, and that very much is dependent on your personal circumstances. Things like child benefit, if you've got kids. Again, going back to my own situation, which is probably where I'm best placed to talk about, I've probably got quite a modern family setup in terms of I've got 2 kids to 2 different women, both of whom are a bit off the scene at times. So I still have been able to claim the child benefit. That's not been affected at all. I get that going into my account every Monday. The apprenticeship doesn't interfere with that. In terms of other benefits, they're very much dependent on how much you're earning. So, as we said before, if you're earning below the threshold, you can still get some of the other things like the working tax credits. But it's very, very much dependent on an individual's circumstances in terms of how much they're getting paid and what their particular family setup is. As I said before, Sarah from the Department of Work and Pensions is happy to answer any particular questions on that. Her email has been, our email has been included in the chat, and we'll forward them on to Sarah, and she'd agreed that she'll give anybody a call if they have any particular questions or anything that they'd like to query regarding benefits and regarding finances as an apprenticeship. While answering that, Bradley I submitted another question. So he's asked, do apprenticeship wages go up after year 1 or 2 of your apprenticeship, or is it a fixed wage until you qualify? So again, I'm guessing it's dependent a little bit on organisations and on circumstances, but perhaps if we start with Tom this time, I'm not sure if you can answer that from your own circumstances, Tom.
Yeah, so effectively, every 6 months, because mine's a 5-year course to get my BEng at Bolton University. At every 6 months, we have a review where effectively you set yourself goals, and if you've completed them, then you are subject to a pay increase, normally around £500 it increases by. However, due to the coronavirus, that has been postponed due to market pressures. So I've yet to have mine increased, but we will see around Christmas time or maybe next year before the next one happens. But that's obviously that's not normal. That's not the normal. It's just due to this has put excess pressures on the market. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it does normally increase throughout your apprenticeship, and then depending on what you do after that. So I will most likely go to do a master's, and it will increase from that. And then once you've finished your apprenticeship and you get promoted from an apprentice or a technician to an engineer, then obviously that increases with the new job role. So yeah.
Thank you, Tom. Charlotte, has it been a similar story at Trafford? So again, did the apprenticeship wages go up after year 1 or 2, or has it been a fixed wage until you completed them?
It's a bit different for us really, because obviously like Tom's apprenticeship is 5 years, ours are usually just a year to 18 months. So like my level 3 was only a year, and then after that year, obviously your contract has to get looked at. You're not guaranteed a permanent role. So I was lucky enough to be able to get given a position with the council as a workforce strategy support officer. So my wage went up a little bit then, well, quite a lot then. And then as we progress through the bands, we have bands, pay bands. So like every year you get an increment, and then every April you get a percentage, like a living wage increase. So just because I'm still doing an apprenticeship, but I'm classed as a HR officer rather than an apprentice. So my wages is based on that HR officer role. If there was another HR officer that wasn't doing an apprenticeship, would get paid the same. So it is quite different because I'm doing like an upskill rather than an initial apprenticeship. But we've not really got any apprentices doing any apprenticeships longer than I think 18 months now with the new standards. So we've not had to really think about the increase after year 1 or year 2 because there's not really that many people doing them at this point.
Thank you. I'd just say as well that I know we touched upon the minimum apprenticeship wage earlier, which was £4.15 an hour. After 12 months, that should go up for everybody. So if you was in a position where you started off on a minimum apprenticeship wage, then after you've completed that first year, your wages should increase in line with the national minimum wage for age. So if you're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever the minimum wage is, they should automatically go up. Most places, as I think Tom and Charlotte touched upon as well, have increments where the apprentice should very much be treated as any other member of staff. And if other member of staff are having annual increments or annual pay rises, then that should certainly be the case for the apprentices as well. So yeah, so to answer to Bradley then, in most circumstances you will see your wages go up. And of course what we talked about before is once fully qualified, hopefully it gives you better career prospects to earn a good wage in years to come as well. I'm just looking, I don't think we've had any more questions. We've had 1 or 2 other comments. Oh, we have had one in, sorry, I missed that one, apologies. Aditya Ramuthoy, if I pronounced it right, sorry if I haven't. But they've asked, how can we apply, and please let me know the opportunities. So if we perhaps hear from Charlotte into how you applied, and then we'll talk a little bit more generally after that. So how did you find out about the opportunities when you applied at Trafford, Charlotte?
So I was just kind of looking for a way forward after college, to be quite honest. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I'd spoke to my mum and dad about an apprenticeship because neither of them had gone to uni. So they kind of said, well, why don't you have a look? So I just kind of Googled apprenticeships and thought, well, where do you find one? I don't know, because when I was at school, they weren't really spoke about. It was always go to college and go to uni. That's what you meant to do. So I didn't really get told about them when I was at school. So I Googled that, and then it took me to the government website. So then I thought, what do I want to do? I thought, oh, I like business. Let's have a look at what business admin apprenticeships are out there. And you can say how far you want to travel from your house, what level apprenticeship you want to do. At the time, there wasn't really that many degree apprenticeships when I was looking for mine. So I just looked for an intermediate level, which is a level 3, which is equivalent to A levels. And just kind of trolled through the pages and pages of apprenticeships to see one that kind of stood out to me, and I saw HR and I thought, oh, HR sounds interesting. It's just payroll and recruitment. Well, it's not just payroll and recruitment, is what I've learned from being at Trafford 4 years. But it's just opened my eyes to like the world of work and seeing those different opportunities that are available. So I saw all mine through the government website. There's obviously other ways. I don't know obviously how Tom found his, but that's how I found mine. And I was lucky enough for a family friend worked at Trafford at the time, so I was able to ask her a few questions about the culture and what it was like to work there, to get a bit more of an understanding of the organisation as well. So I knew what I was walking into, and I knew if I would be a good fit or not to Trafford at that point.
Okay, Tom, how did you find out about your apprenticeship when you started at ACOM?
So I went initially in year 11. I got a work experience. My dad works for, is an engineer, which is TFGM. So I got a week's work placement at ACOM, and that's how I first found out about ACOM. And then I quite literally sat down, was like, oh, I quite fancy doing an apprenticeship, and wrote down every single private engineering company that I could, in that civil engineering company that I could find that were offering apprenticeships. And then I went on their websites and I went on careers and I applied to about 6, I think, in the end, because you have to write, you have to have your CV, and I had to write a cover letter, and then effectively went to all the interviews and chose ACOM. Effectively was how it worked, because they offered me my summer thing. So yeah, that's how I found out. Literally just Google and go on to careers basically and see what they're offering is the best way I can think. I think the government actually has a website called the something apprenticeships where you can search for them.
You're right, yeah. You've teed me up nicely there, Tom. So
yeah, good.
We've got a couple of comments in the chat. So Anna, who's also an apprentice but is helping behind the scenes, has posted a couple of links in the chat. So obviously there's a government website which should have all apprenticeship opportunities and allows you to search through, again, based on distance, on level, sector, and what type of apprenticeship you're looking for. We've also, over the last few months, some of you may have seen GMAX, which is a really, really good website for Greater Manchester, looking around careers and apprenticeships. So some of you may be familiar with that, and if you're not, we've got some more sessions next week when we'll delve a little bit further into GMAX. They have a specific part where they feature apprenticeship opportunities, so that's definitely worth a look, and that's updated all the time, so you can see kind of what current opportunities there are. Other than that, there's obviously organisations will promote on their own websites. So generally, there's plenty of places to look and to see what's out there. The Apprenticeship Hub's a Greater Manchester website as well, which includes plenty of information about some of the things that we've talked about already. I know we're into the last couple of minutes. We'll try and whistle through the last couple of questions. Laura has been watching a session and she's asked, would your wage stay the same if you do an apprenticeship as a member of staff and your company is paying for your apprenticeship? And the answer to that, Laura, is very much yeah. If you take on an apprenticeship, Anna's just answered for me, while employed, you'll stay in your original wage. So in effect, you're getting the same wage, you're only doing 80% of the work, because the other 20% of your time you're studying for your apprenticeship. So a really good opportunity. You're getting the same wage, you're getting a new qualification, you're getting some new training, and then there's every chance when it's completed that you've got something else which is going to strengthen your CV and hopefully lead to maybe a promotion, a progression, or a better paid job. We've also had Bilal, who's been watching, and he's got a BTEC extended certificate in sports level 2, which is great, a fellow sportsman. He'd like to do the level 3 and higher, but he's struggling to find it on the government website. What would you suggest? So Charlotte talks about looking for training providers that deliver the apprenticeship you're looking for and get in touch with them. As she says, they may not have any vacancies currently, but she'll be able to support you to find one. There's also the Institute for Apprenticeship website, which lists all currently approved apprenticeship standards. So if you go on that, I think at the moment there's over 600 different apprenticeships in every subject, every area you could possibly think of. I know that there's a few that are in sports. It might be a case of having a scan through there, looking at what apprenticeships are available. Then, of course, it's a case of matching them up with an employer that's perhaps offering that as part of the job. But there certainly are sports apprenticeships out there, which again, I'm sure are interesting and something I would have liked to have done, I think, at a younger age as well. And I think we ran a minute over. So if anybody does have any other questions or anything else that they're unsure about, then feel free to either email them in or add to the chat, and we'll try and come back to you with answers. As I mentioned a couple of times, any benefit specific questions, if you send them through to the email that's been on the chat, and we'll try and ensure that Sarah or someone comes back to you. As I said, this virtual apprenticeship week is running through till next Friday. I think today was event 4, which means that we've got 9 to go next week on a variety of subjects, variety of topics. We've got training providers, more apprentices and more employers that are taking part. Charlotte has very kindly posted the timetable up, so that's next week's agenda. Plenty of exciting sessions, which I hope we'll see some of you again to join us. But all that's left to say today is a big thank you to Charlotte and to Tom and to Paula for joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed the session. If you have, please keep tweeting, please keep using the hashtags which are on your screen, keep promoting the week, keep getting involved, keep asking questions. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the afternoon. Hopefully the sun stays out. Have a great weekend and look forward to seeing some of you next week at various sessions. So thank you again and goodbye.